There's something strangely haunting about childhood snacks that no longer exist. Unlike a lost TV show or forgotten toy, there's no way to truly bring them back. No reruns, no thrift store finds, no hidden attic discoveries. They simply vanish, leaving behind only the memories of their taste, their texture, and the way they made us feel. And few treats embody this strange, nostalgic void, quite like Mickey's Parade Ice Pops. Once a staple in grocery store freezers, these Disney-shaped popsicles seem to disappear without a trace, leaving an entire generation wondering what happened to them, why did they vanish, and more importantly, will we ever get them back? Mickey's Parade Ice Pops were a beloved childhood staple of the late 80s and 90s, an edible piece of Disney magic that made its way into grocery stores, ice cream trucks, and theme parks. These weren't just your typical frozen treats, they were fruit-flavored popsicles shaped like Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and Goofy. And for kids, they weren't just about the taste, they were about the experience. Biting off Mickey's ears, watching the color stain your tongue, and trying to finish one before it melted in the summer heat was all part of the fun. Mickey's Parade Ice Pops were pure nostalgic 90s fun, bold, colorful, and unmistakably tied to the era of windbreakers, Walkmans, and afternoons spent chasing the ice cream truck. The late 80s and 90s were a golden era for character-branded food products, a time when children's media didn't just exist on television screens, it extended into every aspect of daily life. This was the era of Nintendo Cereal System, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fruit snacks, and Looney Tunes macaroni and cheese. Marketers had fully embraced the power of branding, realizing that kids had an undeniable influence over household grocery purchases. Known as pester power, this influence meant that if a product featured a familiar cartoon character, children would beg their parents to buy it. As a result, companies flooded the market with colorful, character-driven food products that blurred the line between entertainment and snack time. At the same time, the frozen snack market was booming. Ice cream trucks were still a summer staple in neighborhoods across America, and grocery store freezer aisles were filled with an ever-growing variety of frozen novelties. Companies were constantly experimenting with new shapes, flavors, and branding strategies to capture kids' attention. From push-up pops to bomb pops, the late 80s and 90s were a time of innovation in frozen treats, and character licensing only made them more appealing. This kind of synergy, using television, toys, and food products to reinforce brand loyalty, was becoming a standard practice. Other companies were doing the same, with Nickelodeon's green slime drinks and Warner Brothers' Looney Tunes fruit snacks, showing how deeply entertainment brands were embedding themselves into the world of food. Mickey's Parade Ice Pops were created to solve a simple yet crucial problem for Disney: how to keep their characters relevant in the everyday lives of children beyond movies and television. While animated films and TV series had a lasting impact, they were limited by their release schedules and the time commitment required to watch them. A snack, on the other hand, was an immediate and accessible way for Disney to reinforce brand loyalty. With a product as simple as a popsicle, Disney characters could be part of a child's daily routine, turning an ordinary summer treat into a moment of Disney magic. By the late 80s and early 90s, the Disney Renaissance was in full swing, with animated blockbusters like The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast dominating the box office. At the same time, Disney was strengthening its hold on television with the Disney Afternoon, ensuring that characters like Scrooge McDuck, Chip and Dale, and Darkwing Duck were fixtures in after-school entertainment. But Disney didn't just want kids to watch their characters, it wanted them to live with them. The frozen treat market of the time was fiercely competitive, with brands like Good Humor, Popsicle, and Nestle battling for dominance in grocery store freezers and ice cream trucks. Character-branded popsicles were nothing new. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Spider-Man popsicles were already hugely popular, but Disney saw an opportunity to create something more enduring. Unlike trendy time-sensitive tie-ins, Disney characters were timeless. The concept was simple yet effective. Create a line of fruit-flavored popsicles shaped like Disney's most beloved characters. The bright colors and distinct shapes made them instantly recognizable. The appeal was immediate. These weren't just snacks. They were edible extensions of childhood joy, perfectly positioned in an era where branding, nostalgia, and food were more intertwined than ever. By turning Disney characters into frozen treats, Disney wasn't just chasing a fad. It was reinforcing the presence of its most iconic characters in a way that felt both playful and inevitable. The creation of Mickey's Parade Ice Pops was a collaboration between Disney's licensing division and experienced frozen treat manufacturers, who were tasked with transforming beloved Disney characters into an edible form. The biggest challenge in creating these treats was translating animated characters into a frozen medium while still keeping them recognizable. Traditional popsicles were typically simple in shape, cylinders, ovals, or bars, but Mickey's Parade Ice Pops needed to retain the distinct silhouettes of Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and Goofy. To achieve this, custom molds were designed to capture key facial features while maintaining structural integrity. If the ears were too thin, they'd break off too easily. If the design was too intricate, the popsicles might not release from the molds properly. Manufacturers had to strike the perfect balance between fun, functionality, and durability. Mickey's Parade Ice Pops were ultimately released in a pre-boxed, multi-pack format, making them a staple of grocery store freezers. Each box typically included 3 core character designs: Mickey Mouse, which was cherry flavored, Donald Duck, grape, and Goofy, who was orange flavored. While the grocery store packs were the most common format, the Pops were also available individually through ice cream trucks, where an additional Minnie Mouse Pop, which was lemon flavored, could be found. Beyond grocery stores and ice cream trucks, Mickey's Parade Ice Pops were also sold at Disney theme parks and resorts. This was a logical extension of Disney's merchandising strategy. What better place to enjoy a character-shaped frozen treat than while walking down Main Street, USA? Mickey's Parade Ice Pops had a relatively short-lived but memorable run, delighting kids from the late 80s and through the 90s. These fun, character-shaped popsicles were a summer staple for many. However, like many products of the era, their popularity was brief and fleeting, with the treats discontinued in the early 2000s. By the turn of the century, they had all but vanished from store shelves. Part of this decline can be attributed to Disney's ever-changing strategy with its branded products. While the late 80s and early 90s were dominated by the iconic Mickey Mouse and Friends, Disney's focus began to shift towards newer and more contemporary properties, as films like Mulan, Tarzan, and Lilo and Stitch became the new cultural juggernauts. Disney adapted its product lineup to align with these fresh franchises. As a result, older Mickey-branded products, including the Ice Pops, were phased out in favor of these newer, more marketable characters. Another factor contributing to the end of Mickey's Parade Ice Pops was the shifting tastes of consumers. By the early 2000s, there was a growing concern among parents over the high sugar content and artificial additives in many processed snack foods. The rise of health-conscious eating made brightly colored frozen treats less appealing to the audience that had once loved them. Mickey's Parade Ice Pops carry a certain level of nostalgic mystique, especially among millennials who fondly remember them but struggle to find concrete details about their production history. Unlike some other Disney food products that have been revived or rebranded over the years, these frozen treats seem to have quietly disappeared without much fanfare, adding to their status as a lost relic of 80s and 90s childhood. Mickey's Parade Ice Pops were widely popular among kids, thanks in large part to the strength of Disney's branding and the general appeal of fun, character-shaped treats. In terms of success, Mickey's Parade Ice Pops seemed to perform well during their run, but they never reached the same legendary status as some other frozen treats, such as the Mickey Mouse ice cream bars still sold at Disney parks today. Those who grew up eating them often recall them with nostalgia, especially in online discussions about discontinued childhood snacks. There was no major controversy surrounding Mickey's Parade Ice Pops, no recalls, public outcry, or dramatic corporate decisions that led to their downfall. Instead, they simply faded away. Today, Mickey's Parade Ice Pops are no longer in production, and there has been no official revival revival or rebranding of them. While Disney continues to produce other frozen treats, there has been no direct replacement for the original Mickey's Parade Ice Pops. Given Disney's continued focus on more modern intellectual properties like Frozen, Moana, and Encanto, a revival seems unlikely unless nostalgia for 90s Disney food products gains enough momentum. The legacy of Mickey's Parade Ice Pops is largely tied to the broader wave of discontinued childhood snacks that continue to spark nostalgia today. Many millennials remember them as one of the many treats that made childhood summers feel special. Even though they never became a long-lasting staple, their disappearance has only made them more legendary in the eyes of those who remember them. They now live on through online forums where people reminisce about their favorite childhood foods, often sparking the question, does anyone else remember these? Personally, there was a time in my life when a trip to the grocery store wasn't just an errand, it was an adventure. As a kid, I knew that if I was on my best behavior, I'd be rewarded with something special, and more often than not, that something was a box of Mickey's Parade Ice Pops. My mom used to buy them for me at our local Ralph's, a small but meaningful ritual that made an ordinary outing feel like a small victory. The moment we got home, I'd dig into the box, picking out my favorite, Donald Duck. These popsicles weren't just a treat, they were tied to an era of innocence, a time when life was as simple as choosing a flavor and playing outside, letting the summer air mix with the taste of frozen fruit. But those days are long gone. Unlike a favorite childhood movie, TV show, or video game, this is one piece of my childhood that I can never revisit. There are no re-releases, no dusty VHS tapes to uncover, no long-forgotten cartridges to find at a flea market. Mickey's Parade Ice Pops existed for a fleeting moment in time, melting away just like the treats themselves. A reminder that some things are truly lost to time.